I became an addict when I was 19, and I kept going for 13 years of it, and I've been clean now for 6 or 7 years it's been, so I've relapsed a few times in that period of time, but never went back to it. So yeah, I mean, doing this project has been it's a down memory lane, so it has.
I'm gonna ask you to look away. I love my hands, but it hurts to pray. The life I have isn't what I'd seen.
My name's Tom Magill. I'm the artistic director of VSC Films, and I had the idea of making Snakes and Ladders a long time ago. I wanted to do it initially in Shannon Clinic, which is a forensic mental health unit in Knockbracken. I saw people coming out of Shannon and going back in, and I thought, this is like Snakes and Ladders or a revolving door. So that's where I first came up with the idea of doing this project called Snakes and Ladders. And loads of the people I worked with in Shannon had addiction issues. And I know from my own experience that you scratch addiction and you find trauma. So people who are addicted are usually also traumatized, and I include myself. Knowing that, I wanted to make a film project that would call on the lived experience of people with mental health problems and with addiction problems, to show the reasons why people slide down into that pit of addiction, and then the ladders that they find or discover or build themselves to climb out of that pit. And there's the snake.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how it goes. You go in, and then you're down in the depths, and then you got to find your way out. So where's the depths for him? Today is week 2 of Snakes and Ladders, which is our filmmaking project with people with lived experience of addiction. Today we were going over sharing stories about the snakes that have taken us into the pits of addiction, and then the ladders that we've actually used to climb out of those pits of addiction. We went through some of the templates that I've created around those little short stories, and then got people to work through them and did exercises, finding out what's the audio, how can we chop this story down into more manageable voiceover, and then how can we put that into scenes with actors and props and locations and costume, and then what are the key visuals that we want to highlight and pinpoint during that voiceover. Couldn't it?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
You see that? Again, that's brilliant, guys, because you know what's important. All of this, I'm turning you into editors now as well. And it's much easier to edit, paper edit, than it is in a digital edit.
Hey, I'm Jeff. I got into this project. Really didn't know what I was getting myself into when we first started the project, but I ended up telling a particular story of mine, which took place when I was in the horrors of addiction, and I think we portrayed it very well on film for the project.
My name's Johnny Miller, and when I first joined this project, I thought it would be a series of question and answers. I didn't think it would be anything like it has been. It's been educational, and enjoyable as well.
My name is Kevin Doherty, and my role in the project was one of support and also inclusion. I work for MindWise in the Belfast Resource Centre.
From there to there, and then there's another edit that happens from here when that goes into there. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your edit from there to there to there. You do 3 edits on this, basically. And what I mean by edit is you just decide what's essential, what do I need, what do I not need, and you make decisions because you're in control. It's your choice. You've got to choose. Do you know what I mean? And like you say, those would be 3 great ones. And how did you get to grips with the writing exercises and the sharing the stories?
I know I found it informative. I enjoyed the short story, the screenplays based on. Found it interesting, how to put things in audio and visual.
It was really quite wonderful, actually, the way the members had opened up a wee bit about their past or their struggles and their sort of hopes as well for the future. So,
are we doing the right thing with snakes and ladders?
Yeah, I think so. I think it represents addiction well. I think anyone who's been through addiction, that's something that they definitely go through.
It gave me some ideas as regards my own story, so I'm looking forward to writing.
I'm excited about writing mine. I think I'm looking forward to the challenge, to be honest.
So here we are, week 3, and this is our first day back after Easter. 2 of the guys were in today and they had written over Easter, which is great. So they came in and they read out their stories that they'd written in longhand. 1 snake, 1 ladder, and then Kevin and I both put the written stories, handwritten stories, on a computer. What we encouraged the guys to do was to think about the 3 key moments in their snakes and in their ladders. And so that's what we've been working on today. So I'll just underline that. Underline. That's bin hooking there, and then choosing lines. There. Is that what
Oh, I think that's good.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And I love using people's lived experience. There's nothing in this world more important than lived experience. And when we draw upon people's lived experience and put it on film, it's compelling, it's authentic, it's real, it's genuine. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
So here we are, guys, week 4, Snakes and Ladders, 26th to 4th, and the aim today is creating a shooting script. We need to think about who's going to do what, who's going to play what scenes. Okay. Every character that you put in there, we need to put a face and a name to it. And then we rehearse it much as we can in terms of going over it, going over the moves, going over the lines, going over whatever it is that we need to do. And then finding locations. So we get your scripts up and we'll look through them.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
So Jeff, what did you call yours? Title?
Ben Hogan.
Ben Hogan. So let's read it through and then we'll get the characters.
Right.
Okay.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay. I had been on a crazy drug-fueled bender going on a few weeks.
Pause. Okay, so who's the first character?
Me, obviously.
Yeah. So what do you want to call your character? You just call it, or you can just go Jeff.
Just call me Jeff.
Okay. So we have Jeff. The cast is Jeff.
I was also out that night on the drink with my mate and brought, I don't know, do you need to include all that? Well, I brought some random girl home to my house.
We don't need to see that, do we?
Don't need to see any of that, I don't think.
No. So your 3 key scenes again.
So we could edit this then, edit that bit out.
But you can do it as a voiceover. Anybody else, any other thoughts?
No, well, no, there's no one else necessary.
What works when you're filmmaking is being able to control an environment. That's it. And control who comes into the environment and what the sounds are in that environment. The more you can think about your locations and what are we seeing and start to see them, as a frame. What am I seeing in that frame? Because filmmaking is all about what do I want to focus on and what do I not want to focus on. So think about that as well. what's in my frame and what's not in my frame, not important.
Yeah.
That's editing. So you're editing right from the moment you start thinking about it.
It all seems to come down to editing then, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah. What do you think will be the biggest obstacle?
I don't know. Still probably trying to be comfortable on the camera to do it, do you know what I
Right.
mean?
I was sitting in with a group when I was still a member here. We made 3 videos and mine was 9 minutes long. It was about my journey through mental illness in general, the way I was experiencing things before I even got diagnosed, while I was out in the community really, and the way I was living, the way I was not really properly functioning healthily. I have sort of good resources thanks to ESC Films to sort of pull and draw from. 2 videos that I've made, one as a member of MindWise, all to do with my own mental illness, and then the other one was to do with coming through that whole journey and working here and supporting people that would have been in my position.
Did it help you to hear from people who had been through it before you?
It was very important to get the confidence levels up, Jeff, to write it down, even before I put pen to paper, or even before I committing to join the film group in 2013. There was a couple of members of MindWise who were really instrumental in inspiring me in what they had written and what their background was. They're slightly older than myself, so they had longer experience, and without them I don't think I would have got involved with writing it. The sort of trusting people around me, of course Tom and being in MindWise, and I'm realising fully connection I have with your own stories, and I was mentioning to Tom and Julia about what you had said, Jeff, in relation to like hitting rock bottom, or you were describing a sort of situation you were in regards to maybe addiction, misuse of drugs and that in your past. And I definitely hit a rock bottom in my own life just before I was diagnosed. Yes, it didn't involve drugs in that at the time, but it was very, very challenging. And I was told actually when I was in hospital, I was actually lucky to be alive still after that experience that I had.
So it just makes you think addiction is really just a byproduct of mental health, do you know what I mean? So it could have easily happened to you where you ended up turning to drugs.
The thought that comes to my mind is like losing that sense of control.
We were saying, if you wanted to, you could think about, because you're a creative person, and if you wanted to,
I'd love to
write something.
Yeah, no, taking the words out of your mouth.
Then do Kevin.
Yes, I will.
Good. So that's about saying, well, here's my lived experience of addiction, or here's my lived experience of imprisonment, or mental illness, or whatever it is, because what we're trying to do is get over the shame of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The shame of being called a junkie or an addict or a nutcase, whatever it is, or a con, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like owning that.
The footage that was taken, stories, was absolutely really powerful and will be really effective in the future for informing and educating and inspiring many others who would come in contact with the project going forward.
Pulled out 2 pins of citric acid, my favourite one, I've taken here. I'll go and get it, you wait here. By the time I met the dealer, I was sweating. My mate and I split the bag. One hit wouldn't cause a proper relapse. A nice hit. And I wasn't a junkie. But soon I was back at it, begging on the street for my ex. Can you see that now? Can you see it? Yep. That's a movie, buddy. Yep.
Don't speak to me this way. Don't ever let me say, don't leave me again. Don't leave me again. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more. Oh, you never felt this lost before, and the world is closing doors. I never wanted anything more.
What we're doing right now?
Yes, so what are we doing right now? We're shooting Johnny's we're shooting Johnny's last scene, his ladder. So this is the final part of Johnny's story we're telling now.
Yeah.
Lots of progress being made, all the 1.5 day shooting, but good. Looking forward to the outcomes, because I haven't seen any outcomes yet, but they will be brilliant.
What do you think of today?
I thought it's been really good. I was surprised how quickly it all came together, and I think we found some really great locations. I was impressed.
Are you excited for your
Yeah.
next week?
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Nervous as well, a wee bit apprehensive, but
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing the finished project now.
These films are brutally honest about the price that people pay when they slide into a pit of addiction. But they're also hopeful. It's about giving people hope, because we're not the worst thing we've ever done. And so all of us can change. Every single person can change if given the potential, the capacity, the opportunity to change. People can change. So this is a call to action to addicts, to people still using. Look, there is another way. It doesn't just have to be this way. And I think that people seeing this film will take that message from it, and it will give them hope to climb out of their own pit of addiction.
Oh, never seen what you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed love. Oh, never seen what you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed love. Oh, never seen what you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed love. Oh, never seen what you wanted, love. I was the hell that you needed. Oh, I was the one when you needed love. I was the one when you needed.
Ben, do you want to record her voiceover, her line this week? Because that line is you can have your family or your drugs, but you can't have both.
Yeah.
But I thought all the acting wasn't going to have
One
noise
line.
volume.
One line.
Okay.
It's just because it's a very powerful
It's
line.
it's such a
And
powerful
all the
line.
lines will be yours, but then there's just
There's
powerful
one
lines
powerful
like-
line, and
Yeah.
you're seeing in front of it, and you're going.
And it's her voice.
It's
isn't
her
it?
voice in
Yeah.
your head.
Bang on.
Do you see?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see? You got me.
I'm with you.
So Alina and Tim, really appreciate it, guys.
True
Really
romance.
appreciate you helping us out. Brilliant.
Clapping. They made that with all the prisoners
Mickey
in
B.
McGabry.
Yes.
Macbeth.
Did they make that?
Yeah, Tom made that.
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
With
Would
all
you?
the prisoners in
You
McGabry,
should.
all the lifers.
42 of them.
Right?
42
My
prisoners.
big Davey, my mate.
Alright, okay.
So 50 seconds. This one's about 67. Do you know? So if we can do these today,
Yeah.
that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
And see next week, Kevin. I'm looking for a quiet space in MindWise or Action Mental Health where we can actually do voiceover. Yeah, not the voiceover, but you speaking to the
To the
teleprompter.
camera, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we get that as a master interview.
Yeah.
You know.
We need Johnny for that as well.
And then Johnny doing his, and then Kevin, you've got a wee short to do as well,
I
haven't
do
you?
indeed. I've half written up,
Good.
not finalised.
Do you know what I mean? Because he's got all images from his photography, and
Oh,
just
Tom.
look
sorry.
at all of the
I want to show
montage.
you this, Tom. It's something I started and I was trying to get finished, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lovely idea.
Drugs.
Yeah. Of course.
So I was just, because I seen it when we come in and it tied in with what we were doing,
Brilliant,
so
brilliant.
just
And just. Needs to be in the light. Find the light with your face, Jeff. Can you find the light with your face?
That's it there.
That's it. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Feel that in your face?
Yeah.
That's what actors
this
do.
time.
They find the light. Find it.
And then hold the money up a bit higher and you're counting it.
Hold it up a wee bit higher, Jeff.
Yeah, there.
And then just get up and walk out of frame. Lovely. Do it one more time. Jump back in.
No, you can have your family or your drugs, but not both. You can have your family or your drugs, but not both. It's getting a bit exhausting. You can have your family or your drugs, but not both.
Can you describe like what you are doing now?
Okay, so right at the minute we're practicing for the same. Where Jeff's the scene for where Jeff's mum basically comes in and tells Jeff that it's an ultimatum. Either you give up the drugs or you leave the house. So this is motivation. Would not be what it's called right now. This is your motivation for the part.
I was my whole head in it, know what I mean?
Put it over there. So today we're in location in West Belfast at Jeff's flat and we're shooting Jeff's
This is the way I
snake.
had it on the day, right?
So this is bin hooking. So what we're going to do now is hooking a bin.
You know what I mean? And I was right in it, pulling shit out.
And what's your role today?
My role is I'm going to play Jeff's brother, who discovers Jeff after he's taken an OD. Then I drag him into the shore to try to revive him. And that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
And what's your role today?
I have to give him an ultimatum, so I have to tell him he can have his drugs, he can have his family as drugs, but he can't have both.
You're gonna play the mother? Yeah?
I'm going to play the mother. So I'll be playing the mother.
No, I think she's seen you.
Yes,
Yeah.
genius.
She comes out and she says, you can have your...
You can have your money or you can have your drugs. Can't have both.
You can have your family or your drugs, but you can't have both.
Sit back and one metal. Yes.
Really good.
Lovely.
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's really good. You're doing that.
Yeah, no, it looked
You
absolutely
can just see
brilliant.
her in the background.
Look in the mirror. Look in there.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Superb, lovely, lovely stuff.
Ah.
Well done, mate. Well done.
We did my story today where I acted out the scenes from my past, basically. We did a particular scene where me and my mum had a bit of a falling out, I guess you could say, over finding my drugs in their house, and I ended up hooking through her bin, and I think it was portrayed on film really well. I was glad to get the opportunity to do this. It kind of was like therapy in a way for me, you know. I really enjoyed it.
I just want to say I hope it helps everybody and gets the message across. And people will be helped, or it will help people to have an understanding that there's a lot of people have a lot of difficulties in life, and that there's hope and light at the end of the tunnel of it. And I hope that Jeff gets a Grammy for it, a BAFTA Grammy award or whatever, and hope he hope he ends up on the red carpet someday.
This is my mum in real life, played today by Alina, and I've put this woman through some hell in the past, like, but she stuck through me.
Stuck by you?
Stuck by me through thick and thin.
Tell your mum what scene we filmed today.
My mum knows.
I know.
We filmed the scene where
I had to remind
I
him
was
about
hoping
that
through your
scene,
bin
didn't I tell you about it? And he says, yeah, where is it? Where is it? I want the Herman. I says, I threw it in the bin, but I hadn't. I had it in the car. And when I come back, he was in the driveway and he was in his underpants and he was rummaging through the bin for it, and I just thought, I've lost him. I said, I'll give you this, or you can stay. And he chose to take it.
How did you feel at that moment?
broken, I'm sure she felt.
Yeah.
No shit.
Probably, you know what, I'm going to say this too, maybe a little bit of a relief, because I've been putting up with it for years.
Like, this was an ongoing thing I've been doing to my mum for years, like.
And then he went to prison.
Then he went to prison.
In and out of prison, the whole time.
For
do you think-
silly things.
And what turned it round for him?
He had some sort of a breakdown when he was in prison. I couldn't get to see him as much because he was way up in Derry, and when I did go up,
just died.
and then his dad died, and then when I did go up, and he had to leave the visit early because he had to see the doctor, and one of the prison officers came over to me and he says, look, he's going through a really bad time. Listen, for 10, 12 years, every night I went to bed, I just waited for at the door for the police to tell me he was dead. That's just how I lived.
My mum's been putting up with this when I was 16, you know what I mean?
But I'm not sure.
But you've done it. And you're through the other end of it.
Yeah.
What's the future hold?
Big things. Hopefully. Hopefully. I'm doing my driving test in 2 weeks, 7th of June. Can't wait, I'm going to pass it first time. I've put so much work in for it, so I'm going to pass it. Got my car ordered and waiting on me. Brand new car on the Motability, so can't wait. Yeah.
I never thought I'd see the day.
Who knows what the future holds.
You make this film to help people, right? Who are addicts. And what would you say to someone who doesn't want help?
Who doesn't want help?
Yeah.
I understand completely where they're coming from, because being a heroin addict is pleasurable for a large amount of the time that you spend on heroin is pleasurable. It can't be denied, but it becomes you reach a point where the cons outweigh the pros, and every addict finds that now they have to constantly take more to gain the same sensation, and obviously as tolerance increases, and after a while every addict comes to the point that they're only doing it to ward off sickness, basically withdrawal symptoms. So I would say that every addict will reach that point. It'll take them a while, and probably they'll think they've hit rock bottom quite a few times, but they will hit rock bottom at some point, like there's no doubt about that. But I can understand why they don't want help. I mean, the whole rehab, there are really no rehabs here, there's a handful, and the treatment is really poor. The treatment regimes are very poor, but there will come a point whenever that isn't the case. You know, it might be the case for about 5 years or so usually. The honeymoon period is what junkies refer to it as. Every addict reaches that point at some point, so no matter how pleasurable it is or how much they want to stay away from help, it will come to at some point. There's no doubt about that.
Cut off your nose to spite your face. Slowly send your palms away. Draw fire, crawl out and seek the shade. Slowly send your palms away. A fine line will set you on